Hello there. Man, it happens every single time. Turns out I had left something on the intro there. I'm gonna have to double check more things before I start. Holy crap. Hello. Kind of the same thing as every time you kind of get the idea. I just felt like painting today, so that's what I'm gonna do. Now, it has been, admittedly, quite a lot longer since the last time I decided to do this, and it's because I've been taking care of a lot of things behind the scenes that, frankly, have been quite draining. So I haven't really felt up to doing stuff for quite some time, and I've kind of had it written down that I was going to be doing a live stream for a couple of months, if I'm being honest. But it never felt like it was a good time, and by the time I'm done with work for most days, it just doesn't feel like there's much energy left, so... However, I'm gonna do it today. And I actually think we have something quite interesting lined up. Now, the thing is, I've been working on this thing just like on and off. It's not a big thing, just, it's a small thing that I've been doodling at. And I was thinking this could work for a live stream, if I felt like it. The one thing is, I wasn't sure if it felt too spoilery or not. But then I thought, you know what, it doesn't really matter. The most important thing is just making something and then see if there's a reaction to it. So I might as well work on this publicly. I don't really care. So, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of jump into it and then we'll take it from there. I'll kind of explain what it is that what you're looking at as I go. But yeah, you can kind of see by the title of the screen, I was thinking of doing something Donnie Friday related. Usually I do this on Fridays, but today was the day I had time, so today it is. So here's my thought process. I am working on Season 2 of Donnie Friday, but I've had to put it off for quite some time because, well, there's some very important stuff happening at the company, so I can't really dedicate all that much time to it. And dealing with the burnout and everything else, not the greatest. But I have a lot of plans for Donnie Friday Season 2. But I have to finish the first episode before I can do that. Kind of the way I would explain it is the first episode is sort of the jumping off point, and then a bunch of stuff happens afterwards. It'll be a lot easier to animate once I get that first episode out, but that first episode I kind of set the benchmark a little bit too high, I think, especially with everything else going on. So a lot of ideas that I just have sitting around I can't really show off. But one of the things that I've kind of hinted at towards a lot of other things is that there's more than one alien. There's just a bunch of aliens. And I haven't really locked in what their designs are going to be exactly because, well, a lot of this has been very unplanned because otherwise it isn't fun, just to put it that way. So essentially, I have all of these weird aliens that are going to be showing up in Season 2. But then I was like, wouldn't it be fun if Donnie had some sick-ass shoes? So, I needed some background characters, so I just threw, like, the random aliens, even before I have their designs done in the background. And I was like, will it be too much to show this? But you know what? At this point, it's fine. So that's what I'm going to be working on now, and it looks something like this. So here we are. this is what I've been doodling at for like a day or two. And it's something kind of particular because I think I just had it in my mind that I wanted to do. I don't know how to describe this style because I don't really think it has a particular name. I think some people like to refer to it as like Y2K style or something like that because it's more something that was popular during the millennium shift. But that kind of like really lumpy style with long limbs and kind of a thing, that's what I wanted to draw. And kind of a hallmark of that thing is really huge chunky shoes. But I can't just single out Donnie here with big ass shoes and then have nothing else. So I threw in the rest of the aliens. Of course, we have the green one that's in the background here, which I've already shown off. And then we have the two other ones, which will show up more prominently in the later seasons. Now, like I said, I haven't finalized any of this, which is kind of what the problem is. I just started doodling, and now here we are. But to give an idea, let's see if I deactivate this. This is kind of the idea that I have for the ones that I have so far. And I haven't settled on anything because kind of the thing is I want it to be a bit flowing since this is a comedy show. And if it turns out that these shapes don't work for a gag or something that's funny, then that's kind of a problem. If I was designing a fighting game character or something like that, this would be very different. Because I've tried that. I, for example, turned one of these into a fighting game sprite. I already made like a whole mock-up of that just for fun. And she works for that, but at the same time doesn't really work for what I'm trying to do here. So I've made them a little bit more rounder, given them more unique shapes. Like widen the pants, this one a bit. There's some ideas for how they function and everything, but this is what I have so far. But all of this just stemmed from me wanting to draw Donnie with giant ass shoes. That's it. That's what the entire drawing is. So even if it turns out this is not, you know, the perfect canon design that I'm going to be sticking with, at least they will be temporarily in this art piece. So yeah, that's what we're doing, at least for now. All right. So, let me see here. First things first, we got to get some jams going. Let me see here. I've been ignoring chat a little bit. I've been waiting 6 years for this art stream. Yeah, honestly, kind of the same. I've been a bit locked into what I've been trying to do for Vikings and Trampolines for the past while, and I haven't really been able to think about anything else during that time. So, apologies that it tends to be quite a while between each of these outings. I really wish I had it in me to stream more often. It's just, it takes a lot out of me sometimes when I'm not prepared for it. Let's see. Let me get some jams going first, and then I can start addressing everyone piece by piece here. I was playing some music from Ape Escape 3 in the intro because I really like the music. So I can probably play a little bit more of that. Let me just double check that I'm not going to be blasting out the speakers. 40 to 35 range. Let's put on Toy Town. Does this work? Oh yeah, by the way, YouTube hates me now because it tries to block ad blockers in Europe, so there will be delays between music, unfortunately. But that's just how it is. There we go. Ape Escape mentioned. I don't even have to mention it. Ape Escape is like one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. It is so damn good. Then again, I'm a sucker for jungle beat and like light techno music during the 2000s. There's just something to it. Long time no see. How have you been? I've been alright for the most part. I suppose I can address a little bit about what I've been doing for the past while, because, well, frankly, quite a lot of you haven't heard anything from me for the past bit. So the short of it is, me and the team were working for a good while on a very, very specific deadline. So this is something that we have to deliver to the people that give us grants through the government here. And if that sounds unusual, most European countries do this. So Norway is no exception. But we have certain obligations that we have to fulfill whenever we develop something, and this was one of those. Now, the deadline that we had for it was honestly kind of insane. It was, we had to finish a lot of things that I can't really talk about in a very, very short amount of time. I will pat myself on the back and say that that went amazingly, even though I can't actually demonstrate what we did. But I can at the very least say that it went very well, and I'm very happy with the results that we got afterwards. So yeah, we managed to hit a deadline that we desperately needed. However, that was at the start of the year. Then we decided we were going to be having a look at Vikings again, which is, you know, primarily what we are supposed to be focusing on. So we have been going hard at trying to wrap up as much as we can with Vikings. I'm happy to report that the second to last boss is complete, and we are currently working on the very last boss of the game. Can't say much more than that, but I can at the very least say that we are working on the last boss of the game. And we do have another big deadline coming up that we are currently scrambling to take care of. And frankly, that is the reason why you haven't seen much of me lately, is that it's practically waking up in the morning and then just like staring at a computer for as long as I can possibly take it, and then I don't know, going to bed, I guess. That's not to say that I don't have spare time. I do, but the exhaustion hit hard, and there's a lot of things that I want to do that I simply haven't been able to do this year. But I could say that we've done one thing that has helped tremendously, and it's actually the reason why you might be seeing a bit more of me from here on out. We have implemented an extra day off a week. So I have Mondays off now, including weekends. And the honest truth is, this is for our own health, and making sure that we can actually do some stuff that isn't just work. And it isn't like, the idea isn't that we're doing this so that, oh yeah, then we can just like slack off or something. No, it genuinely is that if we don't have time to do things that make life worth living, then it's going to affect our work anyway. And we're trying it throughout September and then seeing what the results are. But I can at the very least say that so far the results are very good. It's created some results already. I managed to finish some mock-ups that I've had sitting on my desk for almost a year. So I'm actually very, very happy that we're taking those steps, because it means that I can do stuff like this. If I had been going with our regular schedule that we have been using, this stream would not have happened, because it is currently roughly 8 o'clock over here. And if I had to say to myself, okay, it's almost 8 o'clock, tomorrow morning I have to get up bright and early to animate balloon people that you have to stomp on with tiny Vikings, I think I would just skip it. I'd get some more sleep or something. So the fact that I don't have to stress today about that, and that I can just hang out with you guys and paint some Donnie Friday stuff, that helps tremendously. So that's why we're here right now. Four-day work week. Yep, 4-day work week. It is... we don't tend to talk about this kind of stuff out in the open all that much, because I think to a degree this is mostly me, but I always feel like I have this preconceived notion that if you talk about this in, I don't know, on Twitter or something like that, you're going to get some very strange people that have very intense opinions about how lazy you are or are not if you actually take time for yourself. And I feel like it's a lot easier to just take the steps and see if they work. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Dan. Hope you're doing alright. If Disney doesn't put us into the ground, I'm gonna be spamming Homer screaming "Traboom Poleren," and what the... I can't even pronounce that. Trabupolene? Let's see. Biggest advantage to me is to be able to do stuff in the week that would be possible during the weekend. Yeah. One of the disadvantages of Norway, which it is technically an advantage, but it's difficult to get into, is most things here are not open on Sundays. It's not so much a religious thing as it is a don't overwork your employees without paying them for it. And you really should allow your employees to have days off. So stuff being open on Sundays is not common here. It's becoming more common, but at least traditionally it hasn't been. But it does mean that once the weekend starts, that means that you have like the tiny sliver of time on Friday to do something, and then Saturday. And if you can't do it on Saturday, well, sucks to be you. That's kind of how it is. So the fact that I can use Monday for things now is really nice. But yeah, it's been really nice so far. Just being able to chill out with some stuff and make stuff that's exceedingly dumb again. I've kind of missed that. In fact, I can show a couple of those things throughout the stream, but well, I guess I don't necessarily need to focus on this specifically right now. What was I thinking? Oh yeah, I didn't showcase this. Let me see if I can find this for you real quick. This was one of the things that I finished with my extra time. Let's see. I'll just put it straight into the window. That should do it. Okay, this is one of them. So here is... Oh, that is not what I selected. Can you select the right thing now? Nope, cannot. Please. Oh yeah, this is why I don't do this. Hey? There we go. Okay, right in the middle. This is something that I worked on for a short bit. You might be familiar with a elf drawing that I made a little bit ago. And I was like, why don't I turn that into a PC98 mockup? In fact, I've actually coded this entire thing. This isn't just a mockup. I have made this as an entire game. Music and animations and coded text interface and everything, which was that was really fun. I really enjoyed working on that. That said, the recording for that I made, I haven't put it up yet, and there's a reason for that. I've come to realize that the internet is pretty unhealthy for me at the moment. There's very few things that actually gives incentive to share. To put it this way, if something does well with my art online, I will likely get an email from someone trying to either send me a very strange business proposition, or it's going to be a grift of some kind. Or it'll be re-uploaded somewhere that I did not give consent to. And while I'm generally... that kind of doesn't faze me, really. Right now, I don't really want to deal with it. And then I realized, hey, I can just not upload it. So I've been sitting on that video for a little bit until I feel ready to release that. So maybe there'll be an extended gameplay cut that I put up a little later. So that's one thing that I've been working on. The other thing that I've been working on is a mock-up that I've had on my desktop now for, yeah, I think actually a full year. I hinted at it a year ago, and it was a mock-up based on the legendary Axe, which is a TurboGrafx-16 game, which looks like this. So this is a redrawn mock-up of a really old game. I think this is 1986, I think. So it's quite a while ago. And I don't have any familiarity with it, but it's, the last boss was so freaky, I kind of had to draw it. Because it's this, how do I even describe it? Throughout the game, and it's, if you want an analogy for what it plays like, think loose Castlevania, but with like caveman aesthetics. That's kind of what the vibe you'll get out of it. The last boss, you've been seeing these kinds of eldritch eyeballs floating around as you play the game. And as you get to the final stage, these things will just merge together with a bunch of really confused cavemen and make this nasty-looking amalgamation of a thing. And I love it so much. Like, he doesn't even look like he understands where he is, and yet he's there to destroy you. It's so weird. I couldn't help not love that. But, yeah, another thing that I could finish up because I had a bit of extra time. And there's also a third thing, but we'll come back to that later. Let's see, I missed a bit of chat. I'm a firm believer that as long as you take your time and you know your best, who cares what other people think? I suppose so. The unfortunate thing about running a video game company, and that you are sort of the representative of that, even if you don't want to be, is that people take that as you are representing the optics of what you are producing. So even if there's nothing to say about how we operate or what we do, I guess I just kind of get tired of people commenting about how they think a company that they have no relation to should be run. Like, oh, I need to take a break for my own mental health's sake or I'll go insane. Ah, yes! Let me give you my 2 cents. I know how this works. Do you do everything yourself? Yes. I'm actually quite proud of the music that I made for the PC98 thing. Because I actually did manage to put FM synthesizers to use. For those that don't know, FM is... To boil it down a little bit, it's essentially what Sega used for their sound chips. It's not quite correct, but it's correct enough to answer the question. Let's see. There. Then we need just a bit more girth on that line. Maybe around there. Yeah. That'll do it. Let's see. I wish my mind had the flexibility to learn music and coding. If it helps any, I can't really code. I can pretend like I can code. The programs that I use are not traditional coding programs. But they function well enough that I can make it work. To put it this way, I composed a few tracks for Owlboy, and there was, I think we only used 2 of them. I'm not the most well-versed when it comes to composing music, but I can make it work if in a pinch. In fact, that is actually one of the challenges that I'm working on right now. If you remember the old NES Mega Man mock-ups that I did a little while ago, there's a lot that I haven't shared yet, and I realized that, oh yeah, I never uploaded that anywhere. So I'm planning on making an extended video for that in not too long. But there's a problem. I can't just upload that without any sound. So now I have to compose Mega Man music. And I can do that. I've done that quite a few times before. It's more so finding the energy to sit down and being like, okay, now you have to compose a whole track that someone won't hate. So I haven't quite gotten there yet, but if I feel like I have the energy for that, then I will. There'll be a brand new video up on Snakepixel, the Snakepixel channel. Let's see, how thick does this line need to be? I might just draw this by hand at some point, but for now let's try vectors and then see if it'll let me do it. Yeah, kinda. Kind of okay. Used to be thicker, though. Yeah, screw it. We're doing it by hand. I can't be asked to sit here and adjust. This always happens, by the way. Every single time I'm like, I'm gonna just use vectors and make this all go smoothly. I just end up drawing it by hand. That's why all my pieces take so long. I get annoyed when automated systems don't work. There was a point in the PC98 video that, unfortunately, I haven't shared yet, is where I needed a function programmed so that it recognizes commas within the text. Why do you need to have that? Because if you don't have that, the text won't stop whenever you need a breathing point within the text when you read it. So a lot of people might not notice that when you're playing a text adventure or something like that, but there's always a stop between each bit of punctuation. Otherwise you lose where you are. If everything just blurts out at the same time, you can't read it all. Except the program I'm using, the code for it didn't recognize it. So, of course, instead I just record the entire thing and manually put every stop in through my recording software. Because of course, that's the smartest thing to do, right? I think it took like a whole day of video editing just to make that work. But that's kind of how I operate. I'd rather it work rather than sitting here thinking of the system that's going to fix it. It's probably why I'm not a programmer. How did you figure out that you like the rendering style you do for most of your sprite work? That one's a bit tougher to answer because I don't tend to stick with one thing. I do all kinds of sprite work, and part of the... I know that a lot of people probably know me for a more particular style, but in private I do all kinds of stuff. So for me it's mostly like what feels good for what it is that I'm doing at the moment, and then I'll adjust from there. I think a lot of it is simply does it align with what I want the end result to be? I always find that if I'm sitting there thinking too much about style, then I'm not making things. Like, your style is going to emerge from what you make anyway. Like, you don't have a choice on that. That's going to happen regardless of how you feel about it. So I would worry less about that and more so, is there an end result that, or an emotion that you want to convey with what you're showing? What colors, what shapes, what, yeah. I think emotion and shape emphasis is a better way of thinking of that sort of process. All my work is made with vector layers in Clip Studio. You know what? I'd love to try that at some point. Because I do a lot of line work stuff. And frankly, a lot of it is just a pain in the ass. Maybe I could do stuff that didn't take me 16 years to do if I just had vector line editing. I don't know. Or maybe it would just annoy me, I'm not sure. Granted, I am notoriously old school with stuff. Like, I do think that I would be annoyed moving to a different program this far in at this point. Like, not using Photoshop, I think, would feel like I was missing my legs or something. Not a good analogy, but you get what I'm saying. You can do vector pixel art. Huh. I'm gonna try not to think too much about that. I feel like that opens up a whole can of worms that I don't have the brain capacity to sit and think about right now. Let's see. Let's see here. Connect. Oh, that looks awful. Thanks, Photoshop. No. Okay. Yeah, that's better. But yeah, I suppose, since we're already on the subject of making stuff, I'm very curious how people are going to react to the stuff that we've made for Vikings now. I'm also very curious because I am confused as to how to get the news out to people these days. Like, if it seems like none of us have been speaking about Vikings and trampolines for a very long time, the thing is we have. We've been talking about it consistently now for years. It's just that somehow, through what's been happening recently, nobody can see what we post anymore. Like, we will share something, and we think that people got the message that we put out, and it will just be... we'll look at the analytics, and yeah, nobody actually saw it. So it's this constant game of what on earth is happening and why there's nothing that we thought working anymore. TikTok and YouTube Shorts is the new meta. I think that was the case 3 or 5 years ago. That was actually the case, and I would fully admit to that in that case. But it also comes down to how you do it and what audience that you're looking for. And the other thing is that it requires an output that you simply can't do. There is no way for us to throw out that much stuff. Currently, as far as like the main development, simply because of what we have to finish, right now it's me and Joe that's doing like content output, and then we're going to be stepping that up next year. But in the meantime, we have to prioritize what we'll put in time on, and the stuff that we've put out, just people don't see it, period. So we're going to be trying something new, though this is not like an official announcement of it, so don't worry about that. But I can say that we are going to be focusing mainly on newsletters moving forward. I say mainly, but it's not that we're not going to be posting anything anywhere else. It's more so, if literally no one sees anything that we write, then at least if you get an email, maybe 3 times a year, then you'll catch the important stuff. Because there will be quite a few important things moving forward from here. And I really want people to tell us what they think, because I'm really excited. Like, I really want to show people all this new stuff that we've done. But that's kind of the thing about planning a marketing campaign, is that you have to pitch in with the stuff that actually works. And if we end up investing a ton of time in something that is not going to be seen by anyone, that would be very unfortunate. Because it won't just affect us; it will affect the people that fund us as well. So, want to make sure that everyone is on board with what needs to happen. I would say reaching out to streamers would help a ton. So I'm not going to have any particularly strong opinions about this, because there's a... Wait, did I merge that down in... No, that I didn't. Okay, we're good. I'm not going to have particularly strong opinions about this, because it's hard to know anything these days. But the one thing I do think I can say is that focusing on streamers has been the advice that you've been given for years now. That's like the no-brainer thing that you will hear constantly people talking about. But at least from our experience, those people are busy. They are very, very busy. And they have so much stuff that they have to go through. Because if you're talking about streamers being like the next big thing that everyone should pay attention to and you should get in contact with, everyone's thinking that. Absolutely everyone is just blasting these streamers with like 600 games that they should play right now, or else they'll lose out. And they have to prioritize what it is that they think people would want to watch. Like, they are drowning in keys right now. So it is, while it sounds like it is the smartest thing to do, it is surprisingly difficult to get through if you want people to actually play something. That's not an absolute statement, though. Like, you can always try whatever you can, and you should. I'm also saying that currently there are a few drawbacks to it, and there are quite a few streamers that simply cannot have more stuff on their schedule. Like, it isn't physically possible. And part of what causes some of that problem is unfortunately stuff like shadow drops. Like, absolutely no shade to the games that have been coming out lately. They have all the right to all the attention that they very much deserve. But there are games that suddenly will just show up and go, oh, we're releasing now. And then now every single streamer and YouTuber and everything else has to change the schedule based on that. And that means that can happen right in the middle of whatever promotional cycle that you're doing. And that can be tough both for you, but it can be tough for the people that want to showcase your stuff. Like, even if they are casually interested, now they simply won't have time. It has to be bumped down for like several months. And if you're looking for a release window, that's even more difficult. So there's a lot to consider here. And I realize that, you know, this isn't necessarily the most fun discussion to have. It's just something that's on my mind anyway, because, okay, part of the reason why we made Vikings on Trampolines is because we want people to be able to make friends when they struggle to. Like, the entire game is also made to be very accessible. You can play the entire thing with one hand. So because of that, literally anyone can play. And we've made it so that it's kind of a fighting game that a 6-year-old and a 80-year-old can play together. So it's like, this feels like it would be the perfect game for everyone to gather around on. But what category do we put it into? Is it a party game? Is it a brawler? Is it a competitive game? I don't know. It can be all of those, but it's not really up to us how we categorize it. It's about, how do other people fit that into their schedule? We're specifically talking about streamers right now. Where would they put this if they needed to categorize it? And that can be tough. It can be tough to figure out exactly where that line needs to be drawn. So there's a lot there. A lot to think about, a lot to go through. As far as my concerns go, I really just want people to be able to experience Vikings because I think people will enjoy it a lot. Of course, I do have a bias. There's no denying that, because I like my own game. There's also the very hidden secret project that I can't talk about, that I think a lot of people will like. But that one's quite a ways out. So we have to wrap up Vikings first. But I think that's why this is on my mind so much, because Vikings is sort of the perfect way of testing the waters. Like, there is no more approachable game than Vikings. So there should be some way of figuring out how to get people to see it. We managed it with Owlboy, so I know that it's possible. I should probably split off the... Oh, I almost said their name. The knight. I should split off the knight. And I can't spoil everything. I have to leave some things for season 2. Let's see. I'm probably making this a little harder than it needs to be, but screw it. We'll section the big lad out, and then we can complain later. Hey, Fire, what's up? Alright. So, section out the arm. All I'm really planning to do here right now, for context, is I just need to fix the knight's arm. Just the hand a little bit so that it looks a little bit more appropriate. Is that everything? Should I section out the UFO? I guess I should. Take that, and then delete, and then switch and delete, and I should be able to select it. There we go. Okay, perfect. How often do you stream? Oh, that's actually a good question. I don't know. Does anyone have a metric for that? I think it tends to be like once a month, if I'm being perfectly honest. But sometimes I am a little more on the ball on that, and it can be like a rush down of several streams in a row. And then it'll be like 4 times a month with a long pause following after. Been learning about the RPG Ys. Oh yeah, Ys is really interesting. What was that I was thinking about the other day? Something really fascinating that I learned about. So, I wouldn't necessarily call it a hobby, but something that I have a tendency to do is that I research the history of a bunch of different studios just to learn about who they are so I can figure out what they've actually done. Because a lot of times, people will just attribute work to whatever the IP name is, rather than the people actually working on stuff. So when a game is suddenly bad and they go, oh, they lost their mojo, all of the stuff that they do is horrible now, they don't realize that they switched developers, or that these are completely different people that have different motivations. And I went down a really interesting rabbit hole about a couple of different developers. And I can actually talk a little bit about that because I think it's very fascinating. I think it started because I was correct about a prediction. Now we're gonna go into weird game history here, so brace for that, I guess. So, everyone know about Tango Project? So Tango Project is a developer that is comprised of the actual original team that comprised a bunch of titles for Natsume. They were recently just reformed, and they've been making remakes of all of their old titles. This includes Wild Guns, Pocky and Rocky, Shadow the Ninja, Ninja Warriors, etc., etc. So I'm pretty familiar with these guys' work already. I really like a lot of their games. And I was looking up what their history was to sort of guess what their next title was going to be. Now there's a couple of clues here. First off, it has to be one that the main artist has worked on, because he seems to have seniority on this, because he just wants to remake the games that he's worked on. And it probably is something that Natsume still has rights to. It's also within the vague range of the NES to SNES era. It needs to be a non-licensed property. These are the criteria that I've written down. Okay. The obvious contender here is Shatterhand. If you're not familiar with Shatterhand, I can find that real fast. You're probably familiar with... Oh god, what is this? No, Shatterhand on the NES. Holy shit. Oh yeah, here we have a screenshot that actually shows everything in one go. Okay. Here. This is Shatterhand on the NES. Now, Shatterhand is a rebranding of something that was actually a licensed property, but they changed it into something where they used their own characters for North America. So now this is a possible contender for a remake. Aha! However, even though it says that it's published by Jellicoe here, it is technically under Taito. And Taito is currently owned by Square Enix. This is how deep I go into this. And it's usually quite difficult to negotiate with a subsidiary of another company like that. So I figured that would not fit the bill. Then I realized that Pocky and Rocky, which they've already done a remake of, is also a sequel to a Taito property, which means that they would have had to buy the rights for that. Ah! So I put all my stocks on this being a Shatterhand being their next game. And I was correct. I was actually 100% correct. Because they updated their copyright for Shatterhand specifically, I think 2 months ago. So it's pretty much dead on that this is going to be their next title. Okay, cool. My weird knowledge about stuff has paid off. However, I noticed that Natsume, who are still the parent company of Tengo project is named Natsume Atari. So I start digging into Atari. And the thing that I figured out about that is even weirder. So, if you're not European, you might not be familiar with this company, but there used to be a company named Infogrames. You might have seen their logo. It was like an armadillo made out of rainbows. They made a bunch of original titles. Many were at least somewhat fondly remembered, and I'll be honest, they had a much bigger presence than anything that Ubisoft did. They were a French company. Now, in Europe, at least the way that I knew them was that they were the ones that made all the licensed Asterix games, so of course I knew them pretty well. So, I believe it was during the 90s, Atari was doing pretty badly. And they ended up selling a bunch of rights to their properties. Eventually, they ended up getting sold outright to Hasbro. And Hasbro actually had a video game division that made quite a few things. Among other things, they owned the rights to Microprose. They were the ones that made Roller Coaster Tycoon, among other things. So you'd see the Hasbro logo on that. Well, Infogrames somehow made bank on a bunch of stuff, and then kind of went underground. Nobody really heard about them much. During that time, they bought Hasbro. And in doing so, they also acquired the rights for Atari. And then they were just like, you know what? Atari is a bigger brand. So we're just gonna call ourselves Atari now. And then Atari went on a buying spree. Previously, Infogrames, including Natsume. So, the Atari that's been publishing a shit ton of stuff is not Atari. It's a French company that has a American division that has been going around buying Japanese companies, among other things. It's so weird. So they're technically the ones funding all the stuff for Tengo Project. But it's so strange. It's like, this is kind of the equivalent of LGN, you know, the company that made all those weird games back in the day, just stockpiling all that money and then buying the name for Sega, and then it turns out that they were Sega all along. Like, that's what this feels like. It's so weird. I don't know. I love this kind of stuff, though. Like, I don't really care about internal video game politics or that sort of thing, like who acquires who so much. What's interesting to me is that you can trace who is actually working on stuff. That interests me, because there's some very talented people out there, and a lot of times people just sort of go, it's the company making stuff, instead of it's the people involved. And there's a lot of people. But it's usually easier to trace smaller origins because, you know, they weren't 1,000-man teams back then. See, does that hand look better than it did? Yeah, it's at least less boring. That's a start. Oh yeah, this track that sounds exactly like one of the tracks from Phoenix Wright. But it's actually from, is it? Oh, no, not at all. Blazion the Bio-Cyborg Challenge. That is a name for a video game. How do you feel about modern tutorials in games? That is a tough question, mainly because a lot of quote-unquote modern games I don't play because I find them frustrating. A lot of video games these days are so obtuse with so much stuff that takes away from the actual fun of things that I just avoid them. Thankfully, it seems like my intuition to pick games that avoid that sort of thing tends to win out. So I don't run into harsh tutorial stuff all that much. I feel like the worst tutorials are the ones that stop you dead in your tracks and pelt tons of text at you. I always find that free experimentation works a lot better. Just let your players do stuff. I can definitely understand that there are moments where you actually need to have the button input available for what you're supposed to do. But if you overcrowd my window with just a ton of nonsense for a video game concept that does not require it, I will be a bit frustrated. Not like throwing my controller out the window, but it's more like this could have been handled differently. If you're playing a building game or something like that, where it is very complicated what you're about to do, I definitely get it. But if I'm playing a platformer, and you're stopping me every 3 seconds to tell me how to press jump, I don't think I will approve of your design methods. I think probably you didn't think this through very well. Either that, or you have a middle manager that thought they were complying with industry standards when they probably shouldn't have. So like retro and old school style video games? Not necessarily. I am one of those people that actually owns the Switch 2 because we need it for our company. So I've been playing an absolute ton of DK Bonanza. I love that game. It is a absolutely fantastic video game. Like, genuinely, it has been such a joy to play and has brought me so much happiness during awful times. And it did not have obnoxious tutorials in it. They were pretty straightforward with how to play, and at worst, they would have a pop-up thing on the side saying something like, "This is how you throw a thing." That'd be about it. Did you hear that the US CEO Bowser is stepping down? Yeah, I caught it. I don't honestly know what the implications of that is. Like, it could be big. It could also just be a changing of the guards in a fairly mundane way. I feel like... How do I phrase this? I think a lot of people make up ideas about what CEOs do at various company levels. A lot of times. Like, there would be an endless amount of people talking about Reggie back in the day because he was such a character. But I don't think anyone actually knew what that guy really did. How he conducted business. What his actual role within the company was in an official capacity. And frankly, I think very few people actually do. But there certainly is a mythos about it. And I don't know what the implication of the change will be. I can say one thing, though, and it's that I know that Doug Bowser was a previous Electronic Arts employee. I forget if he was a CEO or if he was just higher up. But that's the only thing I can gauge anything about his potential influence in that sphere. Like, okay, at the very least, he will be hired based on his experience in that company. That's all I know. Let's see. Can I make that eyelash a little longer? Yeah. This is, in all honesty, a very awkward angle for this alien in particular. I feel like her design works better if you see her from the front, but we'll work with what we have. And maybe we push that down a bit. And bilinear, please. There we go. What is Donnie Friday? Anyone in chat wanna give their best guess? What's how would you describe Donnie Friday to someone that has never seen it before? No links. No links allowed. Let's see what we got. I have no idea what Donnie Friday is. Man, I haven't done enough work here, it seems. Well, if we need an introduction, that's easy to do. pausing the music. Yeah, we're doing this. Just give me 2 seconds here. Okay, this is an old screen, so might not work. Let's try it anyway. It might break something. Oh, look, it's my old head. That's before I got the talking face. All right. So if you want to know what Donnie Friday is, every Friday this happens.
It's Friday night! Ha 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 ha! It's Friday night!
You kind of get the idea. And there's, I ended up making about 14 of these. They are part of a larger project, of course, but as is, you can mainly find it on the Donnie Friday YouTube channel, which I will link in just a second, if I can just find the correct link. Here you go. You can see the entire thing here. Now, there are bigger plans for what I'm going to be doing with it, but for now, this was just something that I released every single Friday for 14 weeks in a row. So that was what this was. And if you want context for what I'm drawing right now, let's see, that was... well, you know what? We'll watch episode 3 and 4, and then you'll get context for the characters that are in the background.
It's Friday. It's Friday night! Ha!
You get the general idea. So, kind of what I've been doing now for the past while. The Donnie Friday series just started out as, frankly, just a gag that I did. It was me and some people that I knew that were talking about. I don't even remember how this started, but we were on a phone call, I think, and I was, they were joking that I sounded like Dracula from the intro to Symphony of the Night, the room I was in. So I did a Dracula voice, and then I think it was on a Friday, so I was just going, "It's Friday night!" And then I thought the voice was funny, so I decided to animate that first episode, just for fun. And as it turns out, I just liked making more of them. So I think I spent either 1 day or 2 days on each episode and just threw them out. Like, this was not high effort stuff. It was literally just I wanted to throw up some gags online. And then once I got to like episode 5 or 6, people started actually requesting them. Now this became a whole thing. So now I felt obligated to make it an actual series. So I ended up making 14 episodes by the end. And by sheer brute force of just making up stuff, it developed its own lore. Now there's a whole hidden story in Donnie Friday that I've never actually gotten to because, well, it requires me making an entire new season in the middle of development of 2 new games. So it's it hasn't been going as fast as I wanted to because frankly I've been a bit exhausted about it, but one of the things that's in Season 2 that I never got to were these 2 new aliens. Because you've only seen the green alien once. That's this lady right here in the background. And there's tons of them. But I couldn't just throw them out there without any sort of like theming or planning. So kind of what I'm doing right now is I'm hoping to finish the first episode, and then the rest of them will be a lot easier to do. But we'll see. Maybe I can show off some of the stuff that I've done? Nah. Might be too early for that, maybe? We'll see, we'll see. One thing that's been really surprising about Donnie is that despite everything happening on social media during that time, despite everything that's been happening for the past while, for some reason, Donnie Friday broke the barrier. Like, I was at Gamescom, and I was showing off Vikings and Trampolines and Savant Descent Remix. And I would have people come over. They hadn't heard about Remix. They might have heard about Vikings. But for whatever reason, they did know that I was the guy that made Donnie Friday. That was weird. That was real weird. Do it. You know what? Pausing music. Let me go on intermission for a second. And let me check if the production file that I have is possible to display without showing everything. Let's see. Do I have anything interesting? This does kind of spoil things a little, doesn't it? Alright, I will show 2 things. Only 2 things. And it will be this. The first shots from Season 2. You have this. which is one of the scenes I'm working on. This is still early days, but we are moving. Still the same palette and resolution and everything. And I can also show this, because it's on point with what I'm working on right now that you've already seen. So we get the return of the UFO. And I have to say, there's a reason why I have to use this very, very particular palette that I'm doing. Can't go into why that is, but yeah, this isn't just me freeballing colors. I have a extremely specific palette that I use for Donnie Friday. And getting it to work with exactly what it is that I want to show off has been tough, but I think I've made it work for what it is. Okay, that's all I'm showing for today. Back to what we were working on. You know what? Because I want to try and paint a little bit more tonight, so that I don't completely lose track of what I'm doing. But in maybe a little bit, not right now, but in a little bit, I can show off another thing that's sort of related. Let's see. Let's flip that. Yeah, that still works. Thank you for sharing. Oh, no worries. It's been 2 years, so I don't know how up to date people are on the Donnie stuff anymore, but I guess we'll see once this thing drops. It's difficult to say when I can start sharing more Donnie things, because the plan is to, at the very least, get to a very comfortable spot with Vikings and trampolines this year, and then like just going as hard as we can on showing it off in 2026. So my schedule might be completely filled up next year. We'll see. But if things continue the way that they are, and I can still take 3 days off, then maybe I can actually finish this thing. Who knows? I'm at the very least moderately hopeful. I still hear people talk about it around Halloween. Really? Huh. I feel like Halloween kind of becomes a blind spot for me, because November 1st, which is like the day after, is the Owlboy anniversary. So I'm usually completely busy prepping for that throughout the entirety of October. A bit ironic, because October 8th is my birthday. So it's sort of like the second my birthday hits, then it's like a month's worth of work prepping for November 1st. It's soon. Oh yeah, no, it's very soon. Ironically, the anniversaries correspond very closely to my age. Because this year is the 9th Owlboy anniversary. And I turn 39 this year. Which still doesn't sound real, I'll be perfectly honest. Does not match up with anything in my head, but you know, life does not care about that. Let's see. I need to maybe... Yeah. Yeah, it was better before. Just very briefly trace that. I like the sharp angle better. I turned 35. 35 is a really good middle point. So that's a very comfortable age. If it sounds like it, I'm not worried about age. Like, it's weird to say, but most people have always thought that I was older than I actually was. So I'm not particularly stressed about it. You're not as old as Dracula. That guy that was beheading people in Romania? I sure hope not. Let's see. Keep feeling like I need to adjust this thing, but it does work the way that it is, so I'm just gonna stick to it. Trust in the process and all that. I am trying to not emphasize, like, too much sexual dimorphism on these ones, because I feel like that just distracts from the design. Just want to keep it nice and wavy instead. Let's see. Is that too much chin? Maybe I could try to just do that. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. Let's see. No one can escape. It's more so about priming expectations. Yes, people are going to do whatever it is that they're going to do. Hell, I've even received some, let's say, interesting fan art of Donnie characters. And it's like, that's an inevitability. I'm not gonna sit and it's just nice that someone made fan art, I guess. But it's not probably what I'm going to be emphasizing. So it's more so for my own sake than anyone else. Hey, Guardian. Nice of you to show up. Nice of you to show up. That's not the phrasing I was looking for. It is good that you are here. There. You would think that living with an English speaker would improve my phrasing, but somehow that never happens. I should say, it was almost that I didn't end up doing this live stream. And it is a little weird, because the reason was because I got distracted working on a different mock-up. Something that hasn't happened in a very, very long time. I think this week has been a lot of, I want to just knock out a bunch of stuff that I've been sitting there thinking I should finish, but I just didn't. Okay, this music is driving me nuts. What is this? 3x3 I say ma kurinden. Huh. Very, yeah. How about I put on the best music I can find? Oh yeah, here's this one. Very much drunkenly trying to get up a flight of stairs core. Hope all is well on your end. All things are well on my end, the green. I appreciate it. We made homemade orange chicken today. I'd say this is an excellent day. Let's see. So this hair is supposed to connect here somehow. Orange chicken, like with orange juice. Yeah, orange juice, orange zest. You're supposed to fry the chicken and then coat it afterwards. Real freaking good. Yeah, maybe that. Maybe that'll work. That was a strange decision I made for that. I'll have to think this through a little bit. Oh yeah, I mentioned I had a different Donnie thing that I was doing that I was saving for a little later. I think it's later now. So I've been on a bit of a kick lately. Let's see, let me just find my Friday folder. So, to explain a little bit about how Donnie Friday works, I only have the one line that he says. So, it is specifically this one.
It's Friday night. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, that whole thing. But essentially what I use is I run it through a DCPM filter on an NES. That's how you get the artifacting. So that's why it sounds the way that it does. However, in order to run it through an NES, you can't just upload an entire soundbite. It doesn't have enough memory for that. Which means that the different parts, uncompressed, sounds like this.
Ha!
And...
Ha!
And...
Ha!
that whole thing. So I just have these sound bites lying around from when I do recordings. And I mean, I do this for all of the different characters. So I have hundreds of little voice lines from the different characters whenever they need to say something. Let me see. I probably have to lower this a little bit because I was going to play a sound from the witch. She sounds like... And... Yeah, you get the idea. So I have the Friday line, and I am unfortunately bored with extra time for once. And that leads to some stuff. Let me see. Where was the first one I did? Is that not called Cube? Yeah, it is. Because I was listening to the intro to the GameCube, and then I was just like... Which, started me down a dark path. A very dark path. So, of course, that naturally means that you have to do something like... So unfortunately, this means that I've done so many of these. I have hundreds of these now. And some of them are way more elaborate than they really should be. So I'm going to play a few of them now. I have no idea what I'm going to use these for because, you know, it's copyrighted music. But fuck it. Here's Boomerang Kuwanger from Mega Man X1.
It's Friday night. It's
And I hate to say it, but this is one of the easier tracks. This was sort of my start template, and it turns out I can do way more complex than this. But yeah, no, I started out with that one, and then I was like, well, what else could I do? Oh yeah, Adrian, for example, suggested, how about you do F-Zero, so fuck it. Also, I'm so sorry to the people that have randomly joined the stream and have no freaking idea what's just happening, but you're just gonna have to deal, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing for the past while. But then I was like, what's the most complicated and nuanced melody that I could find on the SNES that I could do this to? Like, just to, like, really mess with myself. So, of course, I did the most obvious one. And this one took a while, I'm not gonna lie. But, now we have this, and, yeah. So yeah, that took forever to make. It's like 2 minutes of finished product. I think I spent like, well, I didn't actually spend a week on it. It was mostly like every time I had a little bit of a moment, I added more to it. But yeah, I don't know. It's been entertaining just throwing these together. I thought you were going to play through Fire in the Flames. Nah, I don't really need to, but I've so far I've been trying to stick to Super Nintendo music just because I know that it'll fit the sound. Um, there's a slight precedent there for Super Nintendo music to at the very least handle slightly similar samples. So if I start doing, I don't know, Genesis music or something, the sound chip might clash a little bit. I don't know though. We'll see. I have no idea if I'm going to make more than these. It's more so, is there anything that seems to fit with the sound? I haven't found anything that sort of hits that mark yet. It just has to be something that's appropriately ill-fitting. I mean, there's no shortage of these. I have tons. Like, I have short ones. Here, there you go. Bam, there you go. Like, these would be perfect to just supplement some Donnie stuff with, but I don't really want to add licensed stuff, so I have no interest in it. This is just for me. That track I just played, I also made a short music video for, but I will save that for another time, I think. Ah, you know what? Screw it. Here's another one. So there's that. Have you done anything from Earthbound? I don't know if Earthbound would fit this, primarily because Earthbound is already so goofy that I think it would kind of take away from it. Like, if you're already expecting a soundtrack to sound a bit silly, then I feel like it detracts from it. I kind of like the straight man comedy aspect of it. Like, why the hell am I playing this on top of Boomer Kuwanger or Turtles in Time? That makes no sense. Earthbound sounds more like, yeah, that kind of tracks. That's what you would do. Star Fox? Yeah, it was Star Fox. That's Fortuna. It's it's one of my favorite tracks. I really also like the tracks in the original release of Star Fox 2. There's a lot of really good ones on there. Do I have any more? I'm sure I have more. I mean, there's this. You get the idea. But yeah, at some point I am going to upload this in some capacity. I just haven't figured out what yet. I think also the underlying thing, at least as far as my brain tells me, I cannot for the life of me imagine that anyone would listen to this on purpose. There's not a single human being alive that would just be like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna put that on, I'm gonna add it to my playlist. So I think this sits squarely in the shitpost category, I think. I've been making videos like yours with my friend with pixel art because you showed me how fun it could be. Oh yeah, what you making? Let me upload, alright. I find that there's a lot that you can do for animation when it comes to pixel art. It's more so you have to know its strengths anyway. Like there's a ton of drawbacks to animating custom scenes in pixel art. So I wouldn't recommend it for everything, but there are some things that are quite nice to do. For that matter, a lot of times when... there have been times when I've been working on something on a Donnie Friday episode or other things. Cough, cough. And I've just been sitting there thinking, you know what, this would actually just be better to make a video game out of. It would surprisingly be less work. Because drawing custom frames in pixel art can be pretty taxing at times. Just depends on how you do it. You have to be mindful about your process. Looks about right. is the one I uploaded before. Okay, let me see here. Just muting my desktop here if I'm going to click on links. Oh yeah, I forgot YouTube hates me. Just give me a minute. Okay, just looking at it, it's a good call to use a lot of panning. So it does save you a lot from having to do character movement constantly. That is a really taxing bit whenever you're doing large-scale animation in pixel art. So I think you're definitely on the right track here. I've sent my shitpost suggestion. Fucking hell, Adrian. I hate that that's a good idea, mostly because I fucking love that soundtrack. And I don't want to ruin it for myself. Like, I could literally pick any track from that, and it would work. I will give it some thought. There's one track that I've considered, but it's only because of an in-joke that me and Joe had while I had it on a like random playlist. Let me see. It's not the perfect thing, but let's see. Is it this one? I forgot that this got a remake. No. Boy, it sure is fun to navigate things on YouTube these days. Let's see. Not that. It was one of these tracks. Where is it? I think it's this one. If it'll load, we will find out. Enjoy the silence, I guess. Yeah, this one. I mean, you can already hear it. Those high notes would be so annoying. I think I'm also more interested in it because, like, I have a deep relationship with Final Fantasy VI. Like, I grew up with that game. I love that game. This is Final Fantasy V. Now, I have a, like, vague relationship with that game, but not so much that I don't feel like I could completely ruin it for myself by putting Donnie on top of it. Talking about remakes and collections, happy for Mega Man to get some traction. Are you talking about the Star Force Legacy Collection thing? That one surprised me a little bit because it really should have been part of the Battle Network one, but I guess they didn't really feel like adding it. The Sonic collab. Well, Mega Man has done a lot of collaborations over the past couple of years. It's just, it's not at the speed that the average industry does it these days. It's kind of easy to forget. Like, I think we're so used to sort of the Fortnite speed of adding new content that things sort of drown out a little bit. Though I am curious what's going to happen now, though, because... So, how do I phrase this? The industry has a remake problem. More so, it has a sequel problem. A lot of companies have been growing a lot lately, and because they're growing, they want to make sure that whatever their next fiscal year is going to be is stable. And as a result of that, they have gotten even more reliant on whatever franchise they already have. Expanding into new territory does not seem to be priority anywhere. And a lot of the companies with the largest growth has fallen into this pretty hard. And as far as what the employees are saying, that's hit Capcom a lot. And I'm only saying that because a bunch of them just quit. The director of Dragon's Dogma and Devil May Cry recently quit and brought with him the main art director for Street Fighter and the new Ghosts and Goblins, along with Bengus, which a lot of you know has been heavily involved in a lot of Capcom stuff for years now. So they just... Itsuno, I believe it is Itsuno, yeah. And they left because they wanted to work on new titles. Now, their new studio is owned by Tencent. So you could say that there was some incentive from just getting a lot of funding from a new party. But they are certainly not the only ones. And I feel like it'll be interesting to see if that will be a larger trend. If a bunch of people will leave these companies now and start sub-companies. Because that happened a lot in the US. And I wonder if that's sort of a lagging trend that might also hit Japan as well. So it'll be interesting to see, because it might be that even though things are going well for something like Capcom, all the people involved in making something that you would actually like have now quit and are working on completely new things. Like I saw, who was it? It was BN Motive that mentioned they want a new Mega Man Legends. Well, there's a good chance that the people that would be involved in making that, even if they wanted to, are not within the company anymore. There's that kind of thing. So it'll be interesting to see just what happens. Oh yeah, music. I forgot. Boop. Kojima is doing well. Yeah, I think the Kojima is in a very interesting position because Konami was always frontlining Kojima as like this genius director. Like it was in their best interest to make sure that people knew who he was, because that sort of added to the mystique of the game and better marketing. Like, I'm not downplaying Kojima at all. I'm saying that it's not typically standard, at least it wasn't for that generation, to have like everything being pinned on one guy as like, this is who is our big genius. And then Kojima just kept ramping that up, naming the studio after himself, putting his name on the box. Even if he had co-creators and everything else that helped him out with stuff, it's always his name on the box. So when he leaves, he has sort of created star power for himself. So it really doesn't surprise me that Kojima has an easier time starting up that kind of thing, because he can get studios started because people know who he is, because people kind of made it that way. Like, this is completely ignoring the fact that he makes really interesting games. Like, that is of course the main thing, but all that other stuff is kind of a unique position for him. Like, it is, you could kind of compare it to Miyamoto's situation, except, ironically, Miyamoto never put his name on the box, which is a... You would think that they would use that, but they don't. Inti Creates made their own IPs and seem to be doing okay. The irony with Inti Creates is that a lot of their Mega Man-like games are actually directed by Inafune. He's been directly involved. The only reason I found out is because you can check the credits on their websites. And also, when the third, I think, Azure Striker game came out, he was like, hey, by the way, I've been doing work on these games the entire time. Frankly, I think that would have been wise to do during the whole Mighty No. 9 debacle. You could just go like, hey, you remember those games that you actually did like? Yeah, I directed those. But, I guess he was worried about, maybe dragging down Inti Creates at the same time. I don't know. Though he's in a strange position too now, because Concept, the company that he made, what was it? Mighty No. 9 through, after their later titles also failed, they were bought out by Level 5. And they worked on the latest Fantasy Life game. And that went so poorly that Level 5 just decided to do the work themselves and then liquidated Concept. And as far as I understand it, Inafune just quit. He left. No idea what if he's working for anyone right now. As far as I know, he has just left the industry. So maybe he's still doing a consulting role for other companies? I have no idea, but that's where that story's at right now. You know what else happened? Which nobody's talking about, which is not surprising in the slightest. In fact, I might be the one to bring attention to this when nobody else has. Or maybe I've already talked about this last stream. I might have. I don't remember. But... So, the creators of Space Quest did a Kickstarter about somewhere in the ballpark of 12 to 14 years ago, where they said, we're going to make a new Space Quest. We're just going to call it Space Venture. And they got a ton of attention. In fact, they were one of the ones that were like the early big numbers, number generators for Kickstarter. Like they were some of the earliest ones. And I have been receiving an email about updates from the game maybe like every 2 or 3 years, where they say, yeah, we're almost there, guys. But not in a sort of like, here's what our roadmap is. More so a, yeah, we're going to be releasing this sometime next year. With like plans and everything, and then nothing. And then they say the same thing next year. But... And I can definitely understand that kind of stress, because, you know, we were in a long-term position with something, with Owlboy. However, they regularly made promises. They actually said, this is when it's going to happen, and then they just didn't do anything. Well, the thing is, they did do something. The game is out to backers. Like, it's done. And I don't think anyone caught wind of it. It was in development for so long that people were just like... I don't think people remember that it was in development at all. And looking at it, it doesn't really look like they did much for the past 5 years. Like, I'm not trying to be disparaging. I know how hard developing a game long-term is. I think they needed to release something, but they just needed to release what they had. Like, they really should have just released a beta, said, this is what we can do, and then call it a day. But I don't think they could, out of Kickstarter obligations. So yeah, that thing came out. Yeah. I guess they fulfilled their obligations. Did they even make an announcement? Yeah, they did on the Kickstarter. I have a download link in my inbox. I just have no interest in playing it. It's still in early access. Oof. Alright. It looks beautiful. Are you talking about the new 3D version, or are you talking about the concept art that they released on their Kickstarter page? Because if you're on the front page of their Kickstarter when they first announced it, their original graphics artist made a ton of movable 2D concepts that they then very quickly abandoned for a 3D look. And I'm not saying it's awful, but it's I think there were people that were upset that they had promised a 2D game and then developed a 3D one. Like, I have nothing invested in all of this, but it's strange to see them side by side. But I mean, that's the nature of development. That's what happens. How can you draw and speak at the same time? Practice? Hey, Enshark. How's it going? Oh, here's that track again. Any particular opinions about Galaxy 1+2 release? It was inevitable. And it's probably inevitable that people will write a lot about how Nintendo is the most evil company on the planet because it just looks the same. That will also be inevitable. And then people will forget. And some people will buy it and some people won't. I already have my original copies with consoles that can still play them, so I'm fine. It's the great thing about physical copies. And a lack of internet connection. It's going good. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing great today. Finally feel up to drawing. Which is, that means the day is going good. How do you type with boxing gloves on? Oh man. I'm so happy that Homestar Runner is still going. Those guys deserve all the good stuff. Just some wonderful people. Nintendo can't take away from you yet. I mean, it's tough to have any kind of sensible opinion about Nintendo's practices because okay, let me put it this way. Nintendo is a company of contrast because they make games that I like, and they have a lot of design principles that I really respect. Like, genuinely, there is a ton of stuff about how Nintendo operates that is very good. That I, like, objectively, I think, at least from where their company position is, they do good by a lot of things. Then there's a lot of things that they do that's very dumb. Like their legal department does a lot of strange things sometimes. And they have odd choices for how to use either their intellectual property or how to handle licensing and that sort of thing. So it's always like a big back and forth on like how should you feel about Nintendo. It's not like an absolute evil or something like that. However, the problem is when you start opening the door for that kind of discussion, and I can already see the chat moving faster, it's people want things to either be the most amazing, greatest thing in the universe, or the most evil, controversial, horrible thing ever conceived. And to me, it's like, they do some good things, and they do some shitty things. That's kind of how I think about Nintendo. And that's usually how it is. Hi, I'm such a huge fan of your work. Owlboy is my all-time favorite game. Oh, that's a lot of games to choose from. Well, really appreciate that you took the time to play Owlboy. Genuinely, I'll say this every time. Like, you took the time out of your day to play it and enjoy it, and for that, thank you. And I'm glad you had a good time with it. Have you played Hades 2? No. I don't think it'll be my type of game. Rather, I could see myself potentially getting addicted to it for a while, but if I want to be addicted to that kind of game, I think I have other categories that I could fill that with. Happy for the people that really enjoy it, though. There's quite a few games that I want to get back to. I just, it's difficult to justify the time. Like, I'm gonna do a full playthrough of Ape Escape soon. And Mega Man Legends. I've been wanting to get back to that because I never did finish it, but it will just take some time. I have a physical CD copy of Owlboy somewhere that I can't use. Oh, that sucks. Well, Enshark, I have a suggestion though. And I know that this might sound like it's terrible advice, but I bought a USB plug-in CD player recently, and it's shocking how much you're able to get access to once you have one of those. Like, you find something at a thrift store, you can just suddenly install that. Like, you don't need the digital copy. Like, I have hundreds of discs that I've saved up over the years that I could suddenly just plug into my computer. Like, yeah, it's a lot better to have digital copies, but man, is it nice to actually be able to just slide something into the computer and being like, holy shit, I can just run this. Like, it's weird. I have a original copy of the first of The Sims. A copy of SimCity 2000. I could just slam that in there, and now it works. It's weird. Ah, compatibility. Yeah, I suppose. I guess it would have to, there's some stuff that you'd have to run in a shell as well. I would love to hear your thoughts about Mega Man Legends. A very interesting title. There's a ton I can say about it. I think the most fascinating thing about it, I mean, the designs that they came up with were really unique, and the fact that they managed to do so much with the stuff that they had is very fascinating. But I think what's even more fascinating is that you forget about its timing. Like, this thing came out fairly parallel with Ocarina of Time, which established a lot of how those sorts of games should work. Like, that became the blueprint for a ton of people. And yet, Legends kind of came up with its own ideas. Just completely independently. And it's kind of fascinating to see. Because the blueprint could have been more something like Legends on the PlayStation. I am glad that most games didn't do tank controls, though, because it does feel a little obstructive sometimes. Like, navigating in Legends does not feel great. But it does have a very satisfying punchiness that you don't get in a lot of other games. Like, Capcom was very good at making weight to stuff. So the jump and landing and the thuds you get in that is it's very satisfying in Legends. I did have a concept back in the day to make something similar to Legends, but unfortunately it'll have to be something that's on the back burner for a very, very long time. That is genuinely my main problem these days, is that there's never enough time. I feel like every artist at some point has that thought where they're like, if I could only clone myself or stop time or something, then I could do all of these things. Which is so weird because all it means is just, I want to make more art. I love the noise he makes when he walks in that game. Yeah! A lot of Capcom games had like a really nice, punchy sound to the walk cycles. What have I done to your hand? What on earth have I done to your hand? Lady, I'm so sorry. I need to reconsider what I'm doing here. Yeah, no, that's not gonna fly. Adrian keeps me teased about upcoming projects. That's really the most frustrating thing, is like there is no one forcing me to not share everything that we have. It's more so I want us to be able to showcase it in its best form. And my problem is that we work so slowly because, like, our strategy is to have less people. If we have a ton of people, that means that there's more we have to finance, and then we can't operate the way we do now. And I have projects that are like 50% done that I just want to scream from the rooftops how cool they are. Like, I'm so ready to show everything, but it takes so long. Like, just the other day I saw someone writing something on social media like, man, I wish there was a game like this because, man, wouldn't that be cool? I'm like, yeah, it exists. We've already made it. But I can't share it yet, and it's so frustrating. No matter how slow it's gonna be, it's worth the wait. I hope so. It's been a strange 10 years. Because yes, we did release Remix, but I consider that more like a little detour that was necessary to keep things running. There are some much bigger things that I'm much more excited about. And of course, a lot is hinging on people actually playing Vikings, which is very unfortunate. I don't want everything to sort of be latched onto that. Not even from a profit standpoint, but more so I want everyone on the team to be relaxed so that we can just make more fun things for people. But my own pessimism aside, I at the very least think we have a fun game. And we have some other stuff that I already know is really fun. So hopefully we'll be able to get to that as well. Hell, even if D-pad went under somehow, I feel like that's not happening. I'm just saying, even if that were to happen, I feel like this is what I do. So I'd have to find a way to make it work anyway. Are you planning to develop 3D games in the future? There is a chance that we could potentially utilize some 3D-like aspects. But the thing is, I can make 3D, but 2D is sort of what I specialize in. And I feel like that's kind of what people want. I have a feeling that a lot of people want to see more pixel art of the type of stuff that I make and that our team can put together. And it feels like that's sort of, I don't know. That's the thing that would engage people the most. And I think to a degree me as well. Like, I'm certainly open to experimenting more with 3D stuff, but part of the reason why I wanted to form D-pad in the first place was to find ways to elevate pixel art specifically. Because it's an art form that I feel like has been very misunderstood for a long time. And after we released Owlboy, I feel like a lot of the weird stigmas and misinformation about it, we helped alleviate that a little bit. But it's like a continuous challenge. So you have to sort of add more to the fray to sort of keep the ball rolling. Now, I'm not sure if I can, how easy it will be to sort of be the benchmark. I think Vikings and Trampolines will be something that can showcase my abilities, but I think it will be difficult to make games of that size unless Vikings does very well. So that's kind of why I'm saying that a lot of our strategy moving forward hinges on that. Is it possible to make Vikings size games moving forward, or should we focus more on I don't know, concentrated games? Not even smaller, but finding ways to kind of build on more unique concepts that are more condensed. We'll see. There's still a lot of time for development and everything. Like, I've spoken so many times with the rest of the team. I was like, what would we do next? But it's impossible to know and plan ahead until we can sort of feel what things are like once Vikings is just like fresh on the table and we know what things look at from there. Pixel art is hard. Pixel art is hard, but it's so enjoyable though. Like this little meditative process that you get to be involved in. I love it. Like, I mentioned earlier that I almost didn't stream because I was busy randomly looking at a new mock-up. That, you know what? Screw it. What do we have? We have like 40 people in here. That's not going to spoil too much. Because I had an old mock-up, we're talking very, very, very old, that I genuinely did not like, but I took a look at right before I started streaming, and I was like, you know what, I can fix this. I can make this work. So I suppose I can give an early preview of that. I don't know when or how it'll be finished, but I mean, I've shown off a lot tonight, so why not? Why not? Whoop. All right. Before I do that, I'm gonna give you 1 minute to guess what the game is. So I can hint that it's not a platformer. It is, however, a Nintendo IP. Because the previous game that I worked on, or made a mock-up of, is, nobody's heard of that one. Legendary Axe. Is that decaf?
Yeah.
Have I told you I love you?
Oh, I don't think I've seen that. Sorry, I know you're live streaming. That's cool. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
That was my beautiful spouse bringing me decaf. Oh, yes. Let's see, we got Zelda, Metroid Prime, Harvest Moon, Donkey Kong. Nope. None of those. I think you're gonna have to reach deep for this one. Whenever I do one of these mock-ups, it's something that I have a vague relationship with. That I feel like maybe I could envision something different for it. Because a lot of times when people make these kinds of things, they always want to change what the entire thing is. And I want to sort of present it in the best way that it possibly can. So it's essentially that thing that you have in your head that you always imagined that it would be, but it never was. And this game in particular was dealt a pretty bad hand and never had the chance to become something better, even though it certainly felt like it had all of the it had all of the chances to become that. Let's see, Wario Land, Mario Paint, Balloon, Excite Bike, Punch Out, and Shark got it. It's Star Tropics. Let me see here. I am just jumping over to intermission. Just so I don't show my entire dashboard here. So this is very, very, very early. I usually never show work in progress pixel art, but I can show what I have so far. But, this is what I worked on. So there's an early concept test for a new mock-up for Star Tropics. It's a game where you play a guy that has a yo-yo and he goes around on tropical islands bonking things on the head. Now the original... let me see if I can find my references. Look more like this. This is what the original looks like. Here's a more zoomed in view. Now the interesting thing about Star Tropics is that its main movement mechanic is that you jump across these like platforms to do combat. You can trigger certain switches, it can open up new paths, and also you can dodge things when you jump between them, and you can attack as you jump. It's a really interesting system. The main issue is that the first game on the NES did pretty well, but then the follow-up was put on the NES even though the Super Nintendo had virtually just released. So nobody picked it up. Nobody really caught wind that this was a thing. And they never had any opportunity to expand on it because nobody bought the sequel. But it had a lot of systems that were a lot more forward-thinking than Zelda in a lot of ways. You can also switch weapons on the fly as you get them. You have a Zelda-like health bar, all of that good stuff. Let's see, where did I hide that? Now, where is he over here? Yeah. So here we have our main character. The illustrated portraits look a lot different than you do when you're actually playing the game. So I've been working on kind of integrating that into the character sprite a little bit more. Not quite there yet, but it's moving along. I've also moved the HUD around a little bit, still keeping it on the bottom, but let's be honest, it's probably a lot better that it's on the left, where all your health is, because that's what you're going to... Not in Japan necessarily, but usually you're going to read that first over here, and even if you don't, it's going to be expanding out that way when you get more health. So having it in the middle means that it has to expand over this way. So it kind of made sense to sort of flip their position. But the reason why I started working on it now is because it used to look like this. And I wasn't happy with that. All the colors were all over the place. It lacked a lot of values. The main character kind of looked like nothing. So all of this was done right before the stream started. So this is where we're at now. Going to require quite a bit more time. It's more spaced out. Yeah, this is 600 by 360, I think. No, 640 by 360. It's the standard 16 by 9 resolution. So the idea would be like, what would a modern console version of it look like? So I don't know when this is going to be finished, if I ever do, but potentially this is my next mock-up. We will see. Oh hey, Goldane. Glad you can make it. New one has that 80s charm in his face. I still feel like there's a lot of work that I could put into that. I think the main character of Star Tropics is a really charming guy. Like, the design. It has that Japanese sort of magazine type look to him. Not even cartoon so much as in, like, he looks like he would be on the video game cover. So I want to try and capture that. And he is a very lanky boy. And I think, frankly, that's very charming, and I want to see if I can get that into the sprite. Because, like, why not emphasize what makes your character the most fun? I really liked your Breath of Fire one. Breath of Fire one is really interesting because I did a lot of planning for that. Of course, that was genuinely intended as a sequel. Like, if Capcom approached me and was like, "Hey, we want to use your concept to develop a sequel," I would have the whole thing planned. Like that, I'd be ready. But the main thing there is that a lot of it is mostly like scribbles, and I'd have to update it all with modern art. The energy in this piece is cool, the characters are fun designs. I'm still not entirely sold on their designs, but I think it's mainly because I'm unsure if they will work in the cartoon series or not. Like, if all I wanted to do was draw fun designs, then I would probably go more elaborate than this, but I'm trying to keep it simple because I know that I'm going to be animating this later. So, where did I hide them? Yeah, these. So I've tried to keep them sort of toony with a little bit of like roundness to them to make sure that they fill the spot. And I mean, geez, Green, or I forget what name I picked for her. Let's just call her Green. Has Man, she's gone through a lot of work because I have a ton of different versions of her. And I want to give her a shape that's not just like, that's a lady. That's not fun. So I've made her sort of like hourglass round bulbs. Not like an hourglass waist. I mean, her whole shape is like round ball, taper, round ball, taper, round ball, taper. Like, that's what I figure is her whole thing. Her original design was very half-baked because I made it in, like, an evening. And I wanted this one to be more like waves and drapes that like hang down, but where you still have like, you can see that there's some connective tissue between all of them. And then you have Void. I love Void. She's fun. If I remember correctly, her whole thing, I imagine if the different aliens get exposed to different things, they change the shape based on what that exposure is, and Void just fell into space. So she became Void. So her head is basically like negative space, but contained within the helmet. And of course, since she is sort of an embodiment of space, she can just float around. She just flies in place. Can just go like whoop. Were these characters in the original series? No, they haven't shown up yet. That's also why this entire illustration here is a little weird, because I just wanted to I just wanted to work on it, even though these characters haven't shown up yet. Hell, I don't even know if I'm ever going to get to the point where I'll be able to show these characters off, or if they would even be funny. Like, I don't know if they're, the gags I would do with these guys would even translate. I've had... Wait, what's happening? What? Okay, good. Yeah, we're good. I have a ton of really good gags that I'm ready to do in Donnie Friday Season 2. No idea if the aliens would be funny, but I have high hopes. There's a gag that I've been thinking of doing where... okay. Probably some of you did this when you were kids, but me and my brothers, I have two other brothers. When we first got our computer, we used to record into a really awful microphone and then speed up our voices and then make like little funny audio clips. And one of those audio clips I managed to find, and this sounds a lot worse than it is. It is nowhere near as horrifying as it is going to sound. I promise you, it's just like funny voices. But it's like a mad scientist that we're pretending to be, and they're doing experiments on a cow where they're like shocking it with lightning or something to see what happens. Like, it's a Frankenstein gag. That's all it is. But yes, I know. It sounds bad. It is not that bad. I promise you. However, I still have the recording of me screaming into a microphone at like age 12, pretending to be an electrocuted cow. And I want to use that in Donnie Friday so badly. And I mean, the stereotype is that aliens kidnap cows, right? So I can use that for something. Which means I am still the person dubbing all of the characters in Donnie Friday. It just means that it's 12-year-old me instead. But that's kind of what I mean. Like, a lot of the... That's the problem with... Not problem, but that's the sort of thing with working on something like Donnie Friday. Is... It doesn't really matter. The prerequisite has to be that at some point it has to be, at the very least, mildly humorous. Like, there's no point in adding the cool guy, because what's the point of the cool guy? Like, what's funny about him? So I always have to keep in mind that I have to have something that's going to happen with these characters. So it's like an underlying thing. PETA would make call-out posts about it, then there's a 20% chance that you're doing something actually funny. I mean, PETA will make call-out posts about literally anything. It's less of a mark of honor and more so like someone at the office over there got bored. What's the lore of the shoes being peppers? What do you mean they're peppers? They're just awesome shoes. They're space shoes. Because the aliens gave him space shoes. I mean, I guess you could say they're spicy. Spicy ass kicks. Keep a paper sketchbook for ideas, or is everything digital? Yeah, pretty much everything's digital these days. It's very strange. Like, most of the stuff that I do or share, or how we plan stuff, is all in my head. A lot of the paintings that I do, I will see completed in my head ahead of time, and then it's just a process of creating it. Like, I get what I call flashes, where it's I'll see a finished painting or a scene, and I'm like, okay, now I need to make that. But oftentimes it just helps to have like very vague sketches or notes about something, so that I can come back to it and be reminded of those things existing. Because then I can sit there and ponder on it and stew on it for a little bit. I do seem to have a bizarre memory of everything in my folders, though. Like, I was going through an old Photoshop file the other day. Like, I have sketch anatomy files, and these can be never do this, just saying this outright, just before I say anything else, never do this for fuck's sake, don't do it. I'll sometimes have sketch documents where I just like blurt down anatomy sketches, and I've had some that are like 800 megabytes. Can barely load it on the computer because why do I have it that way? What possible benefit could it be? Well, it's that I can remember every single layer in that file, so I never have to open it. So if I'm like, what did I draw here in this giant ass thing? Well, as long as I have that file and I can see the first thumbnail, I'm like, oh yeah, there were like 20 drawings of this and 15 drawings of this in there. Okay, now I remember what's in there. And if I ever need it later, then I can open the giant document and pull it out. Because it helps keep my brain organized. It's a stupid system, but if I keep it all the same, I always remember where it is, and if I need to, like, pull it out of my brain as I'm thinking about something, then, well, there it is. It's all in one place. Like, I have sketch documents where it's just like, I don't know, a drawing of some lady that is standing in a pose, and it's like, ah yes, it's the standing in a pose lady document. Alright. Now I remember everything that's in there. Now I can sit there and ponder on that for a bit. It's a weird system, but it works for me. Do you have backups? Backup day is tomorrow, actually. And I know that yes, every single person is going to scream, but I don't do online backups anymore because last time I did, it started deleting my backups. Like, I had a whole thing where I set it up on a proprietary server, and I had it do, like, saves every so-and-so often to make sure that it was there. And then it started overwriting all of it. Just turned it into blanks. And I never want to have that happen ever again. That was terrifying. So I do manual backups. Do you plan on keeping the VOD up? About that. So this is a good time to talk about that. So the thing is, I have 100 VODs now saved on a proprietary hard drive. All of my streams are backed up. It's all there. The thing is, I haven't checked through all of it, and I haven't checked it for copyrighted music and everything. I also haven't checked it to see if I show anything there that would be, like, maybe a problem to show later. Like, today, I have shown, like, mock-ups that I'm working on. I have talked about stuff that I potentially would will work on in the future for D-pad and that kind of stuff. And it is very important that I vet that kind of stuff before I upload. Just making sure that I have not said something and then forgotten about it. I have now tried for a couple of months to just watch through my own streams so I can upload them. I even have a stream channel already set up for when that's ready. And the truth is, it is simply too much work. Like, there is no way that I'm going to be able to get through 100 videos. Like, even when I watch them at 2 or 3 times the speed, which it becomes difficult to sort of discern everything that's happening, that's still like 3 hours that you have to sit and concentrate and watch it. All that said, though, I have at least vetted a good portion of the latest streams. This one I already have fresh in memory, so I can already say right off the bat that this is fine putting up on the channel. So what I might do is that I'm going to start uploading the latest streams that I've done that I know are vetted, and then just go from there. I have some of the older streams that I've gone through, that I've vetted, that I could upload. I'll just have to put them in between, and then make a note in the description that this is an old one. Also, taking a RAW file and then editing it and re-exporting it is a very, very large file for my system. So it's not particularly practical. So post-editing anything, if I have to do that, that's probably not going to happen all that often. It's just not practical for me to do that. So to sort of narrow down the point that I'm trying to get to here, I think likely what I'm going to start doing is uploading VODs to YouTube now. I have the channel intro and everything ready. I just have to pick a time for it, and then I'll just start. So I think I can say right off the bat that this one is already ready to go. So I will be uploading this probably after the other ones that I have ready. And I will likely do another live stream where I link where to go to watch all of those. So for now, you can watch them on Twitch once it gets the VOD gets uploaded. It will of course be deleted, but you will be able to find these on YouTube a little later. So that's what the plan is now. So there should be actual VODs pretty soon. I'm curious how that's going to do, though, because the recordings that I download do not have the chat in them. So if someone is watching this later on YouTube at some point, they will have no idea who I'm talking to. They won't, unless I read up exactly what it is that you're saying perfectly, they're just going to be, well, I guess they are right now if they're watching this in the future. They're just going to be staring at my face, going like, oh wait, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? There. Just me looking at the screen going like, yes, human! That clearly existed and has said things. I'm glad you asked me this question about how great I am. Thank you for asking. Okay, let me see here. I think I am going to keep going for another 10 minutes, and then I'll start wrapping up. 'Cause it is approaching about 11 in the evening for me, and I want to have like maybe 30 minutes or so of cooldown time before I have to zonk out. Thankfully, I still have tomorrow off, so I can chill a little. But why is this a different layer? Oh yeah, now I remember. Because I put it on a different layer. Funny how that works. For the potential of odd watcher, what's the second derivative of cos sine x upper sin parenthesis x plus 2x upper 2 minus 3 in parentheses? I think that's correct. That's definitely correct. Now solve that algorithm right now, and then turn in your math homework. Remember to sign it with your name, otherwise you will get a failing grade. I will get someone else to vet it, because I don't even know what that means. I'm assuming they are numbers. I think I have heard of an X before. How's your Mexican food journey? It's been wonderful. We had a eclectic group of people from my spouse's job show up. We had like 11 people here, and we all ate enchiladas, and it was wonderful. Put your answer in the YouTube comments. Oh god, no. You're just gonna give some math problem to an AI bot, and it's gonna just keep regurgitating answers because it can't tell the difference. I did see a really fantastic post the other day where someone's LinkedIn had a pre-written code to have an AI be reformatted so that it only sent him emails with flan recipes. So every time he receives an email from what is obviously a bot, they also add delicious food recipes, so he can just ignore everything they say and then try something else for cooking. Honestly, the only good thing to come out of that tech. Good for him. Alright, Goldian, you have a good one. I was actually on a podcast recently. I haven't shared it anywhere because it was a very local Norwegian podcast. So unless you live in an extremely specific region here, I don't think it would appeal to you all that much. But they did end up asking me about what I thought of AI. Because, you know, they want to know, what's this AI stuff about, and how do you feel about it? You know, you draw stuff. And I told them what I thought about it, and what I thought the problems were, and what I was hoping that they would do, and, you know, all that nice stuff. And then I listened back to it, and they had cut almost everything I said about it. One of them I did understand that they cut because I feel like some of the examples I gave might not resonate all that much with their particular audience. But I was kind of proud of the analogy where I said that not every technology has to be used or implemented exactly as advertised, because if that was the case, everyone would be driving Segways now. And I thought that was a clever little line. But I guess they thought the people listening to it would not understand what a Segway was, so they just cut it. That was a little sad. Alright, we are rapidly approaching the end here, so since I'm already doing this, I'm going to be playing a track that I love, which, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't? Huh. Okay, so for context, I was playing, oh, what was it? Ape Escape 3 music, because I really enjoy it. But there's one track on that in particular that it's the hide and seek track, and for whatever reason it sounds like they've sampled Goofy. The entire track is just Goofy in the background, you know, the dog from Disney, doing his scream, and then they remix it into a jam. And as far as I know, this track has never been copyright struck. Like, it's still up on YouTube. Nobody's claiming it. And it's such a good jam. But now that I think about it, would this randomly get caught by DMCA claims if I upload it on YouTube now? I'm not sure. Maybe it would. Maybe I should just not risk it right now. Yeah, I think that's probably the better call, because then I can be sure that I can link this later. Huh. Well, if I can't play that one, what else can I play? Like, I need something sufficiently dank. Well, there's a lot of really good remixes, but that's not what I'm looking for right now. Well, this is just a 1-minute song, but I'm going to play it anyway because I feel like you should really be exposed to this. So I've been on a PC98 binge for the last while because I made that mock-up, right? And there's some really good music on that whole thing. There's so much good PC98 stuff. But there is a very Castlevania-like game on that system called Rusty, which has a ton of good tracks on it. But I'm completely obsessed with one called Watergate. It's such a small track, but just in the middle of it, listen to the frickin' arpeggio on it. If it'll play. Come on, you can do it. is such a short track too. But listen to this part. Like, it's such a good breakdown. And they don't even loop it twice. They stop before it comes back. It's so frustrating. What's the name of the track? It's the game is Rusty for the PC-98, and the track is Watergate. I'm assuming because it's a gate with water in it. Like, there's a ton of tracks kind of similar to that, where you get just an excellent breakdown right in the middle. Oh, I can actually share a different track as well while I'm at it, because why not? I'm gonna have to pause this right in the middle. So here's another oh yeah, Brandish is really good and short. So I mentioned very early on in the stream, after I did a whole thing about Natsume Atari and Tango Project and what they're working on and everything. So the game I was talking about was Shatterhand. But a lot of people are very familiar with the soundtrack to Shatterhand because the composer is absolutely insane. Like, the music in Shatterhand is just like fantastic action game music. However, Natsume made a ton of like random video games. They had their fingers on a lot of different stuff. And at some point, someone in their company saw Dragon Quest and was like, let's make a Dragon Quest. Like, I don't even have to speculate there. It's very obvious when you look at how they did the design and the progression and everything. It's just like a Dragon Quest clone. Like, I'm saying this very endearingly. But they got the Shatterhand guy to compose the music for it. So you get this incredible in-between. Like, let me see if I can play a little bit. See here. It's hard to, I have to pick into a giant video here, but okay, just the starting menu. It's so good. This is like the most bog standard RPG that you can imagine. And you get this in it. This is when you name your character. See, I'm gonna be jumping around a little bit. Let's see, Castletown. Like, this is Shatterhand if you went to the medieval ages. I love this track. Okay, just since I'm running out of time, I'm just going to play one of my favorite tracks. Because they have a bunch of field themes. And there's a bunch of different town themes, there's a bunch of battle themes and everything. But by far, my favorite thing in this entire thing is Field Theme 2. Just like... Just the arpeggios in the background, holy shit! Thrill House. I read that way too late. Like, a lot of this is, like, this is just, like, candy to me. I feel like maybe some people that are a little younger might not kind of feel what's impressive about it. But if you've ever tried messing around with trackers, so a lot of people are familiar with maybe some of Konami's stuff or Sunsoft stuff back in the day on the NES. And part of what made those companies so well known is that they had additional chips, additional sound capabilities installed into their cartridges. So they could genuinely just make better music because they had access to more channels. And what's so freaking fantastic about the way that this composer does stuff is that it still uses the standard sound channels. It does not have a VRC6 chip. It does not have an NCS chip. It doesn't use DCPMs to add drum samples or other samples into it. This is just the pure coded tracker noises. Like, it sounds so freaking good. Like, there's no extra flourish. It's just a good beat. Damn, I love this stuff. Trackers are hard. I find them a lot less difficult these days than I used to. I managed to make some kind of fun stuff, and I've also found some that are a lot more versatile. I've been able to make some Super Nintendo music and Genesis music recently, so. Let's see. Oh yeah, do I have any other Genesis stuff that I've made? I don't think I do. Well, I have some really basic tracks that I have. Not much to listen to right now. Okay, I'm going to have to wrap up in a second. And I saw someone that suggested I just blast another Donnie track. Okay. Any requests? Could do Kuwanger, I could do Fortuna, I could do F-Zero, I could do Aquatic Ambience again. You know what? Screw it. We're doing Aquatic Ambience again because it'll catch all of the people that weren't there earlier off guard. Here, enjoy. All right. It's so bullshit, I love it. Yeah, perfect. I love the music geek out. I mean, music is a large part of what I do and how we sort of frame the projects that we do. Honestly, I always feel it's a shame that I haven't been able to join more in on the music part of things. So, just being able to enjoy music for what it is always a pleasure. All right. So, this is where we're at now. Wasn't a ton that we got done, but at the very least we got some stuff cleaned up. Let's see. So, yeah. We got Green's head done. We got her cleaned up. Got her face fixed a little bit. Almost said the name again. The knight's hand is changed up. So I really only have these last parts to clean. And then once that's done, I'm going to make an attempt to color it. It's supposed to have flats though. I feel like that's sort of the feeling of that Y2K kind of a style. So I guess that'll be it for now. Okay. Well, I guess we'll have to do the usual, where I say I'm not sure when the next one is going to be. I do have tomorrow off, so potentially I could do another one, but if I do, it'll have to be pretty early so I don't cut into my time working on Tuesday. If I do stream, then I guess just make sure that you're either subscribed or just pay attention to whatever's happening on Twitch, and then you'll see it. Other than that, I guess I'll see you next time. Bye.
Fighting hard!